Recording in progress.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is the third time today, so it never gets old, and thank you for the opportunity. Please join me in saluting our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen. Thank you, Mr. Ratty.
Thank you.
Time is just picking on Robert Ratty Day before he goes. I wanted to get in one more time. So with that, Ms. Hernandez, if you could do roll call, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon, everyone. Please respond when you hear your name to confirm your attendance for the record. Board Chair Miller, City of India.
Present.
Board Vice Chair Middleton, City of Palm Springs.
Present.
Board Member Ross, City of Cathedral City. Here. Board Member Delgado, City of Coachella. Here. Board Member Bett, City of Desert Hot Springs.
Present.
Board Member Reed, City of Indian Wells.
Present.
Board Member Ratty, City of La Quinta.
Present.
Board Member Kelly, City of Palm Desert.
Here.
And Board Member Townsend, City of Rancho Miles, has previously indicated he will not be joining us for this meeting. And Supervisor Perez, County of Riverside.
Here. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. A quorum of the board is present.
Thank you, Edith. We'll move on to number 4 item now, which is the presentations. We're going to do a ridership report. And Lauren, are you going to lead this, or are we going to go straight to Robert?
Rohan will be joining us. I think we're moving him over now.
Okay.
He should be coming on any moment now. Okay, Rohan, take it away.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members of the Board of Directors. Again, my name is Rohan Krupu, the Chief Planning Consultant. This is a ridership report to the Board of Directors, and my apologies to the Board Strategic Planning and Operational Committee members who saw some of these slides previously. Next slide, please. This familiar graph from the board agenda packet shows Sunride is recovering at a very healthy pace year after year. In April, we saw a 50.4% increase over April of 2020, and in September, we saw a 29.5% increase over September of 2020. Next slide, please. This is a very significant graph. To put this data into perspective, this graph shows Sunline side by side with our 2 neighboring transit agencies, Riverside Transit Agency, abbreviated as RTA, and Omnitrans. Keep in mind that both of these agencies operate in a far more urbanized area, transit supportive environment than Sunline. If I draw your attention to the August data, those are the rightmost group of bars, you can see that Omnitrans, colored in gray, their ridership is about 51% below that of April 2019 or pre-COVID-19 ridership numbers. The orange line next to it is RTA. Their ridership is about 40% below that of August 2019. And Sunline is only 35% below that of 2019 August ridership. This is the best indicator that Sunline's transit network and the refuels restructuring is working exceedingly well, and the service strategy is very widely accepted. Even more significant is that with the refuel initiative, if you recall, we consolidated 15 routes into 9 to provide more one-seat rides to passengers to get to their destinations faster. So whenever we combine routes, there is an immediate drop in ridership number of ridership per count. But even with that, we are showing some very positive gains. What Sunline accomplished here is a direct result of the refuel initiative. It was a bold step during the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, if you recall. This was no small undertaking. There were many challenges, but with the leadership of Sunline and the Sunline team flawlessly restructured the entire network in one shot. We did all these changes in one attempt, and we definitely bucked the regional and the national ridership trend. Next slide, please. According to a CALAC probe of transit agencies, 4 of the most pressing issues facing transit agencies in California and across the nation are listed here. Hiring continues to be a challenge. Sunline is not alone on this issue, but we are doing some very creative things. We are looking at providing English language training to those potential employees that have difficulty meeting our English proficiency requirement. And also, to attract more potential coach operators, we're looking at lowering the hiring age from 21 to 18. Collectively, these strategies will broaden the pool of potential candidates in Coachella Valley. Succession planning is another challenge, and we are keeping an eye on inflation as we do our financial analysis and prepare our budgets. Although Sunline is doing well on the ridership growth front, we will continue to be creative and fast-acting to recover and thrive and capture every opportunity we get. That is precisely what we're doing here. Starting January 2023 onwards, staff will research and recommend experimenting with new service strategies to increase productivity and grow ridership. This morning, we presented some of those ideas to the board's strategic planning and operational committee. These are recommendations that would not alter the intent and the broader spirit of the Refield initiative, but these recommendations will use existing resources and will work within the existing budgets. When we find an experimental strategy that works, we will bring forward those recommendations to the full board of directors for adoption. Incorporating committee suggestions this morning, these changes will accompany our marketing, committee outreach, customer input, as well as formal public hearings before a permanent change is made. And then also, when we are experimenting with these strategies, we will present them to the public and do our marketing efforts. Next slide, please. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Rohan. Very, very nice report in terms of information for us. Any questions, or Rohan or staff, from anyone? I don't see anyone. Rohan. Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. We do have a request from an attendee to provide public comment.
Okay, if we can, and then I'll see if anyone else. I know the supervisor wanted to say something. So, okay, please.
And this is from Mr. Anthony Garcia. Mr. Garcia, I will be changing your Zoom controls.
While the clerk does that, I'll just remind, this isn't an action item. This was just a presentation. The comment should pertain only to the presentation and are limited to 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Vale.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Hi, my name is Anthony Garcia. Was a bus driver for 26 years. I'm speaking on item A, presentation January 23rd, service recommendation. Sunline doesn't need to host an English proficiency class and lower the hiring age to 18. Some of these children don't receive their license until 18, right out of high school. Now you want to put them in charge of a bus full of people. I ask you, who's running this show? You want to retain employees? I'll say it again, board members, you need to look at how the management team treats its staff and remove the problem from the top. The ridership is there. Just look at the new restaurants like Habit Burger, Chick-fil-A, and casinos and entertainment centers across the Coachella Valley. I keep saying it over and over again, and you board members don't listen. When an operator speaks up for safety issues within the agency, Lawrence Skyver retaliates. Example, over 6 months ago, from various departments came to the board to address their concerns, and nothing was done to correct the issues that were brought into your attention. Instead, you allow Lawrence Skyver to make idle threats during her general manager's report. I sit here today as an example of her retaliation to silence others, Sunline's employees, from coming to the board with ongoing issues. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Garcia. Edith, is there anyone else that wants to speak, or can we go back to our board members?
Mr. Chair, there is no one else on the attendee side wishing to provide public comment.
Thank you. Supervisor Perez, did you want to add a comment?
Just very quickly, and I'm not sure this is a forum for this, if it could be answered, but how do we compare with the others, for example, when it comes to salaries and benefits is one question. And as far as the need for mechanics, is there a certain program that we work with, like maybe like COD or some sort of vocational education type of program that can teach folks there that are local to become these mechanics that we need for the future?
So I could answer, as far as mechanics go, we work with COD, but we're, as you may know, building our own school here that will focus the workforce on zero emission technology, since California is requiring all vehicles to go zero emission. So I think on that front, we are doing a class and comp study, and we do have information about salary within the bargaining units. So I hope that answers your question.
All right, I look forward to receiving that information. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Board Member Ross had her hand raised.
Okay. Nancy, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair. There we go. Thank you, Chair. So I was excited about your presentation. I love the idea of bringing forward innovation. And when you start doing your stakeholder, whatever that seems to be, is in-person stakeholder meetings, don't forget your board members who are your biggest fans. So we're happy to go out there and help you and be able to support innovation moving forward with Sunlight. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Anyone else? I don't see anybody else with their hand raised. I'll make a comment then. Rohan and Lauren, have we thought about working with like Amistad High School, which has an amazing youth program that they have? They work on all the vehicles for all the teachers. They work on part of it. There's I think some programs out there. And when the new Cathedral City campus, the COD, comes in, we should start to possibly partner with both of those organizations to see what we can do about bringing them in and bringing them into the fold. I think that would kind of help. And then also getting back to one of our unified school districts, either Palm Springs, Coachella Valley, or Desert Sands, we might want to look at seeing if they would be willing to host some kind of program that would be drivers or mechanics specifically for agencies here. It wouldn't just be us. It would be, for Cardiff. It could be for Bird Tech. There's a lot of agencies out here that are looking for support, just not public, but also private. So I think it gives us a good opportunity. It's out there. I just don't know if we've tapped into it, because I don't think we've ever had to before.
So that's all part of the pilot program that we're developing. So there'll be more information for the board as we develop the pilot.
Beautiful. Great information. Thank you very much, Lana. I figured you were on top of it, but just throw that out there. Thank you, Rohan. Is there anything else you'd like to leave with us before a nice presentation for the board?
Thank you. No further comments from my side.
Thank you, Rohan. Look forward to the rest of your presentation as you go more into the future. With that, we'll move on to item number 5, which is finalization of the agenda. I take it, Edith, that the agenda is as presented.
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item number 6 now, which is the approval of the minutes from September 28th, 2022, the joint board meeting. Is there any changes or recommendations, or would somebody like to make a motion? Anyone?
Move approval.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else? First and a second by the County of Riverside Supervisor Perez. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody oppose or abstain? Okay, pass unanimously. With that, we'll move on to item now is number 7, which is public comments for non-agenda items. Mr. Vale, will you take this over, please, sir?
I certainly will. I'll read the advisement for public speakers, and then the clerk can go through those who are on non-agenda items. Members of the public may address the board regarding any item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. However, no action may be taken on these off-agenda items. Comments shall be limited to the matters not listed on the agenda. Members of the public may comment on any matter listed on the agenda at the time that the board considers that matter later on, after we get beyond public comment. The comments will all be limited to 3 minutes, and we ask that the comments not be duplicative of things that other members or the speaker themselves have said. Thank you.
Edith, do we have anybody that'd like to speak, or anybody that need any comments that need to be read into record?
Mr. Chair, we did receive one request from Mr. Anthony Garcia via email in advance. However, if there is anyone else on the attendee side, please press *9 to raise your hand or use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen. Again, please press *9 or use the raise hand feature at the bottom of your screen so that I can add you to the queue. We will pause momentarily to see if there's anyone else indicating that they wish to speak. And Mr. Chair, there is no one else indicating that they wish to speak. I will now change Zoom controls for Mr. Garcia.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Mr. Garcia.
Hi, good afternoon, board and chair. My name is Anthony Garcia, was a Sunline operator for 26 years. On October 6, ATU 1277 had ratification vote on a contract between ATU and Sunline. There was a majority of vote, 45 to fit 115 to go on strike. The media was invited to the meeting, but they didn't show up. Yet Sunline has ribbon cutting for new shelter at the east end of the valley on 66 and Harrison Street in Oasis, which is only there for 1 month as a prototype. Who's running the show? Wait, we know. What about the riders' needs? Why don't we keep the shelter there forever? Why only for 1 month? Did the news media do this press for free? Why isn't the media focused on ATU vote? The vote that went down is voting no for the contract on the last final offer. This affects the riders, and that's what should be making the news. If Lauren cared about her employees, she would have her management team sit down with the ATU a year ago to talk about the contract instead of focusing on blowing operation fund on bus leases of commuter route 10 service diesel buses to support this service. Her and her management team took countless trips during COVID to various places across the country, claiming that it's work related to receive nonsense awards. Instead, she should be focusing on the operation and passenger needs to inform the public the ATU vote and possible strike, as well as improve the service. Also, why is Sunline spending operation fund for taxi and it's not offered work to Sunline employees per Article G1, Section 3? Also, I'd like to address the Denise Delgado that's running for mayor. You have a lot of people that support you. We ask that you step up and all other board members look into all these issues that are happening. That's why we can't keep Sunline employees. They're going to other agencies. I've been complaining about this for quite some time, but yet nothing is getting done. That concludes my message. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Garcia. Edith, is there anyone else that wishes to speak or has their hand up that would like to speak before we close public comments?
Mr. Chair, there's no one else on the attendee side wishing to provide public comment.
Thank you. So we'll move on from public comments and move on to board member comments. Is there anyone starting from Cathedral City and working their way down to the County of Riverside that has anything they'd like to say? Go ahead and raise your hand and we'll put you in the queue. I don't see anyone. So with that, we'll move on to item number 9, which is the consent calendar. We have items number 9A through 9O. Is anybody in the board?
Move approval, La Quinta.
Quick enough.
Second, Palm Springs.
We have first and a second Palm Springs. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anybody oppose or abstain? All right, passes unanimously. With that, we'll move on to item number 10 now, which is approval of the board meeting dates for calendar year 2023. Mr. Reed, you're handling this for us, sir?
Thank you very much. In your agenda package, 99 and 100 is the proposed meeting schedule for next year. Would staff like to just briefly explain what the differences are between this year and last year or next year?
Yes, Board Member Reed, I can certainly go through the oral report. So thank you, Mr. Chair. The item that was presented at the Board Operations Committee was for the board meeting dates for calendar year 2023 as listed in your board packet. This is a routine item that is taken to the board every October. The calendar will continue to follow a dark schedule in August and November with a combined meeting in December. And for the past 2 years, the April board meeting has been moved to occur on Earth Day. Because Earth Day falls on a weekend in 2023, the April meeting date is on the regularly scheduled 4th Wednesday. However, staff will plan for Earth Day related activities that day. That concludes my report, and I will be happy to answer any questions.
Anything else, Dana?
No. Other than the committee unanimously recommends approval.
So does anybody have any comments or questions on this item? If not, we have a recommendation from the Board Operations Committee. With all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed or abstain? Okay, passed unanimously. We'll move on to the General Counsel report. Mr. Vale, anything, sir?
With your indulgence, Chair, I would like to just give a brief update on a fairly recent bill that was signed into law by the governor. It's SB 1439 Glazer, and it impacts campaign contributions. I imagine that you've all been hearing about this from your own city attorneys, but just in case you haven't, and since it does kind of affect the board members as well, I'll go through it real quickly since we have a little time today.
Okay.
1439 makes a few changes to Government Code Section 84308. That section of the Government Code is in the Political Reform Act and always dealt with the extent to which officers can receive campaign contributions, and then those campaign contributions become the grounds for a conflict of interest. You all as council members know that since you were local elected city officials, that a campaign contribution in the past hasn't resulted in a conflict of interest for you, a financial conflict of interest under the Political Reform Act. SB 1439 changes that completely. Under the prior law, officers couldn't accept, solicit, or direct a contribution of more than $250 from any party, an owner of a project or an applicant, or a participant, and that's just a fancy word of saying any other person who had a financial interest in the decision, or their agent. Within 3 months back, we call that the look back period, or 12 months after the decision, we call that the look forward position or provision, involving a proceeding for a license, a permit, or an entitlement to use. An entitlement to use could be a zoning decision, that could be a conditional use permit, or it could be a contract or a franchise, any franchise agreement. It also had some exceptions, and one of the major exceptions was that all local elected officials were exempt from this. Also exempted were any contracts that are put out for competitive bidding, any labor agreements like an MOU with any of your bargaining agreements, or any employment agreement. Let's say you hired a city manager under an employment agreement. Those types of agreements were never included. Well, 1439 changed three significant aspects of the law. First of all, it struck out the exception for council members or directly elected local officials. It changed the 3-month look back period to a 12-month look back period. And it did include some cure provisions for the look forward. That's the 12-month look forward provision. If you got a campaign contribution during that period, you can return it as long as you didn't knowingly receive it from somebody who was involved in the decision. This bill takes effect January 1, 2023. The open question that a lot of us are struggling with is that since there's a 12-month look-back period, is the Fair Political Practices Commission going to say, hey, that's 12 months looking back into 2022, even though the law isn't effective right now? I've been monitoring the FPPC website, and I called the FPPC yesterday, and they are in the process of providing guidance. They've said that they're going to provide guidance by January when the law goes into effect. They don't have anything in place right now. So it's an open question for all of you who are running for office here in October, November in 2022 and receiving campaign contributions, whether any of those might create a financial conflict of interest for you that would make you recuse from an action in 2023. Hopefully we'll have guidance on that. I'll certainly be providing that to the board as soon as we get it. That's kind of the basics. There are some other nuances to the law, but I didn't want to overburden everybody at this point. If you have questions, I'm happy to try to address them. If not, that concludes my presentation. Thank you, Chair, for the time.
Thank you, Mr. Vail. I see Russell. Go ahead, and then we'll go to Nancy.
Yeah, I don't know if we want to get an agenda item going on this one, but I'll just say that we had nearly this exact same ordinance in our city, and it was very good. Anyhow, I'll just leave it at that. There's a lot to be said on this one, and I'm not in the camp of wanting to undo this one. I think it applies. People can have free speech, but they can't buy votes.
Thank you, Mr. Betts. Ms. Ross?
Just a quick question, Eric. So let's say, and I'm not running for office this year, so I can ask this question neutrally. So let's say you received a donation from the Carpenters Union. Does that stop you from voting on any wooden building moving forward?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Not unless the Carpenters Union has some special financial interest in the specific project that you're voting on. And typically,
well, I suppose they'd say vaguely they did, that they'd have some interest in all building projects.
Well, we have to go through the conflict analysis of the FPC regs. And if it turned out that they did have a financial interest under those regulations, then yes, if the donation was more than $251, you might have to recuse yourself.
And can that interest be as vague as they have members who pay dues?
No.
Okay.
No. It has to be a direct financial interest in the outcome of a decision. Like let's say they own a meeting hall, and it's next to the project boundaries, and that meeting hall's value could go up or down. That would be a legitimate financial interest. But simply having a position on whether or not a project should go forward, or even filing a lawsuit within that regard, probably doesn't qualify under FPPC.
Thanks for the clarification.
All righty. Thank you. Thank you, Eric, for your report. Thank you for updating us. I'm sure our city attorneys will be, and the county attorney will be talking to us about that. And with that, we'll move over to the CEO General Manager report. Ms. Skyver, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to alert the board members that we will be participating in Palm Springs Village Fest on Thursday, tomorrow, for our haunted bus. It has an alien theme. Wait till you see what our team has come up with. It is amazing to transform that bus. And so we'll be on site with makeup and ready to scare, not too badly, folks that take a tour through the bus. The student art contest keeps moving forward. A big thank you to our staff. Carmen's been very involved in this, and Edith has been helping as well, along with Brittany and our marketing team. We are working with the finalists for this year, and we will be doing an in-person unveiling on November 21st. This is when they're off school for the November holiday break, and that's always, the school always helps guide us on when the best time is to get participation. We'll be giving you more information about this so that you can attend. It's an amazing event. The kids are great. And the Fill the Bus, we are just finalizing the details. It looks like right now we will be giving our donations to the Galley Center and Food Now. We talked with several other donation sites that just didn't have the capacity to take the tons of food that we collect. So we're really happy to be working with those facilities for this Fill the Bus. KESQ and Alpha Media have always been a huge sponsor of this and do lots of outreach to get volunteers to bring by items. And so we have a big thank you to them as another returning as our media sponsor again. I did want to let you know I had sent you a note, but I'm really happy to report that Sunline won more funding through Caltrans, $4.5 million for public fueling, hydrogen station. So we are now working on getting that in the FTIP. And if you serve on other bodies like SCAG or RCTC, support on this project being added to the FTIP is very important to the project and receiving these funds. With that, I'd like to turn it over to my team. We are going to do a recognition of some board members who will be leaving us, not leaving us permanently, but leaving their seats on the board. So if I could just add, board member Robert Ratty has been representing the city of La Quinta on the board since 2017. He was vice chairperson from 2019 to 20 and chair from July 20 to 21. And board member Ratty, I just want to say, you know, your continued support and willingness to help develop the leadership of Sunline has been instrumental in the high performing team that we have today. Your influence has helped us to look deeper into how and why we make decisions that help improve mobility for the Coachella Valley. To quote Rosalind Carter, a leader takes people where they want to go. A great leader takes people where they don't necessarily want to go or ought to be. And you've really helped Sunline to figure out and to move forward towards those goals. You've modeled business acumen, performance strategies, and personal and professional growth for both me and my team. And we're deeply grateful. And I leave you with the hashtag volume over volume when we look to how we measure ourselves and what we do to the community. So thank you so much. And if I can quickly, before we let him take the floor and other board members, I just want to say about board member Townsend that board member Townsend brought humor, kindness, and support and has been instrumental to our success. We'll miss his great questions. He always had great questions. And his care and concern for our employees and our riders. Mr. Chair, I turn it back over to you.
Thank you, Lauren. Yeah, two great members that'll be deeply missed. And before I turn the floor over to Robert Reddy, Edith, can you put the 3-minute timer on, please? I know Robert. He's gonna speak. Mr. Reddy, could you give us a few words? Before we push you out, we don't want you to have any rebuttals.
That was good. That was good. Then you can do rebuttals. I want to thank everyone. My first meeting was in December of 2016 as I took over this seat for someone that has been a giant in the community, the late Chrissy Franklin. I want to remember her. She did a terrific job on behalf of the city of La Quinta, on Sunline board, and other many commissions. And so I took over for her after she departed council. And this has been an amazing 6 years, full of challenges and full of opportunities at the same time. I believe the agency rise to all the challenges that came our way. Some have been more abrasive than others. But I want to tell everyone that is part of the Sunline family that I never woke up a day or went to bed after a long day without thinking about you. You're all dear to in my heart. Many of you, the bus operators, are carrying one of the most precious things I have in my life, which is my son. You do that daily, and so I thank you for that. And to the entire board, it's been an honor to serve along with you. We agreed and disagreed, and thank you for the opportunity to broaden my horizon. And sometimes I agree, and sometimes I disagree. That is the beauty of the system that we have in place. And so, it is not a goodbye. It's au revoir. I'm still around. I'm going to be around and a phone call away to whoever wants to reach out after this. So thank you for the privilege and honor to serving alongside with you this terrific agency. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ratty. You're always elegant and a class act. It's an honor just to be a friend of yours, but also at the same time work hand in hand with you. So anybody else would like to say a few words? The floor is open to anyone who'd like to jump in for both Robert and Charlie. I'll jump in at once. Anybody? Okay. Well, I guess they love you. You're both, and Charlie's been an amazing addition. Funny, smart, and always to the point. So thank you both for all that you do for Sunline and the agency, and the best of luck in all you do. And we'll be in touch, my friend. With that, we'll move on to item number 13 now, which is closed session. We have another link that we'll have to go to, and then we'll have to get back out and report out. So if we could, Eric, do you need to give us any instruction?
Just a short reference to the item. It's you have one item on your closed session today. It's a conference with your legal counsel. One item of existing litigation, Dana Bates versus Sunline Transit. If there's any members of the public who have a comment about that item, they could do that at this time. If we don't, then you're able to recess into closed session.
Thank you. Anything, Edith, from anybody that'd like to speak on this item?
Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone on the attendee side wishing to provide comment.
Thank you. Then we will move over to closed session. We'll be back to report out right after the closed session's over. All right. See you on the next Zoom call.
Carmen, can you take down the closed session slide? Thank you.
Our chairman got lost.
I see him coming on now.
Okay, Glenn, let's go.
All right. Welcome everyone back to the regular scheduled meeting of the Sunline Transit Agency. Mr. Vale, do we have anything to report out?
Only that we did have a discussion with your legal counsel under the one item of litigation. There was no reportable action. That concludes our presentation.
Thank you very much. So that ends our regular scheduled meeting. The next meeting will be December 7th, 2022, Pearl Harbor Day, at 12 o'clock. We are dark in November. All of you be safe. Have a great Thanksgiving. And Robert and Charlie, you will be missed, and look forward to seeing you soon. Have a great rest of your day, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Recording stopped.